and Lael. This is 𝗕𝗲𝗶𝗀. We're the co-artistic directors of Fourth Wall Theater Company. And tonight our guest is Miss Eboni Bell from Stages. Thank you so much for coming and joining us, Eboni.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad you could be here.
I don't know if we should call you Miss anymore.
Oh, that's right. And actually, are you Mrs. Eboni Bell? Are you keeping your name or?
I am actually going to change my name, and eventually I'm going to be, when I figure out how and I have the time to do it, I'm going to be Eboni Bell 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗃.
All right. Well, I'm 𝗕𝗲𝗶𝗀𝗏. I changed my name legally too, but I use both because people know me by 𝗕𝗏𝗏.
The big thing is congratulations. Eboni just got married,
yes,
everybody.
Yes, she did. So
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's been a big couple of months for you, huh?
It has been. It's been very, very busy, and I have been, wearing a lot of hats and, trying to manage the new hats, and but it's been fun, and I'm so grateful.
Tell our audience what you do at Stages now, which is a fairly new position for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am the Inclusion, Engagement, and Training Director for Stages. It is a brand new position for Stages. That title they just made up based on the very specific needs of Stages, which was a person to run all of the educational programs, and a person to sit on the artistic, a new person to sit on the artistic team, and somebody to manage all of our budding and growing and progressing equity, diversity, and inclusion work, and to look at all the other work, the training, the education, the artistic, from an EDI lens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, congratulations on
that, great thing.
Which was a promotion for you, and it's a position that I think, well, I'll just speak for myself. I'm really interested to see, what you do and how you do it and how it, I think for me, it leads the way in Houston theater.
I think so too. I hope it's going to be very influential on a lot of organizations on how they restructure their organizations and how they look at positive influence on how to make these diversity changes and systemic, changes in their organization that they need to make, and hopefully looking to Stages and how they've looked at this and dealt with it and, made great moves in that direction. The rest of us can go, oh, that's that. And I know you're so open to helping people. So I think that's great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really hope that, and I really think that Houston is, they're leaning towards, starting the work. Kim, and Philip, we all attended, the anti-racism training that was hosted, by Stages and facilitated by our equity. And that was an incredible, training with so many people from all over Houston. And, those folks who were there, all of their organizations made a commitment to that work by sending them to that training and allowing them to be there for half days, Monday and Tuesday, and actually fiscally investing in that training. And it was incredible. And I think that's an incredible sign of Houston's investment in this work. So I agree. I think Houston's at the precipice of something, and I'm glad that Stages is leading the way.
I am too.
I think it was a good start, and I know that that training really opened my eyes to a lot of things that I'd been just ignorant about, and maybe willfully ignorant. But I've done this before, but thank you and thanks Stages for making that possible for me. It's changed my life. So
me too.
And we'll continue to.
Yeah, it was great. And I love that we get to stay in groups and touch base and get together. And I think that's great. And
yeah.
Hey.
Kim and I are in the same small group. We could, stay in a cohort for forever. The whole group will stay connected, but our small group is really close. So it's awesome.
Love that too.
It feels that way in my small group too. I hope that it feels that way for everyone. For our people who are listening, I think we should talk about this a little. We all attended this program that Eboni talked about, and do you know how many people actually were part of that? It was something like 50 or 60, right?
Yeah, we were pretty close to 50.
Mm-hmm. And within that, we were broken up into, I think, 8 or 9 or 10 smaller groups. And those groups were tasked with making a commitment to stay together and to keep in touch and to keep each other accountable for continuing this work.
Mm-hmm. And being a support system for each other and continuing this work, which is also an important part of that journey. So, you know, because you know, it's not always easy, and you're not always the best judge of your own progress or your own backsliding. And I think that's important, you know, and helpful. So it was really exciting. And like Philip said, as a white person, I think it was really eye-opening to see just how blind I am to things that I didn't understand were simple microaggressions or blinders I had to my ability to see the race issue fully as a race issue and not pull other issues into that issue. And that was a really helpful eye-opener for me to maybe be a better ally. That's yeah. So
and a leader,
and hopefully or facilitator, whichever position needs to be better, because we need everything. Right.
And we need folks willing to hold that space for the conversation. So facilitators, absolutely.
Yeah. So
well, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go. No, you go. The married couple leaders.
I think we can certainly talk more about this, but I want to know, Eboni, because I actually don't know. And I know that people watching probably don't know. What is your background? What did you study in school, and how did it lead you to Stages and then eventually to where you are now?
Sure, yeah. So in school, I studied theater. I have a BFA in acting and directing. I went to Sam Houston State University. I, you know, had a great time at school, and I met incredible people. I met people who I still work with today. And when we left college, actually, Mark Ivy, who a lot of people in Houston know and love, he's an incredible actor in town, also incredibly sweet person. He was like, hey, Stage just looking for a part-time house manager, apply. I was like, okay, applying right now. Applied, got that job. I was a part-time house manager at Stages for a full year. I was working there at night, and I was working for a financial professional as an executive assistant during the day. And during the weekends, I was working as a cashier at Whole Foods. And after that year, Stages offered me a full-time job as the event and venue manager. And I was in that position for about 5 years. Now, around the time that I took on that full-time position, Mark Folks, our managing director, came aboard. And that's when we really began the work with Art Equity and our first EDI trainings. And those trainings with Art Equity, I mean, Art Equity's work is really life-changing. It really just changes people's perception, the way they think of things. And for a Black woman, it gave me such power. It gave me such, I felt seen for the first time. I felt like my humanity was full for the first time. And leaning really into that work, I was a leader always for Stages as a staff member to keep that work moving, to keep us pushing forward. When we first started this work, the first training with Art Equity, there were 2 Black people on staff. I was one, and I had been there for a while by myself. And then Dino Hall, who's our facilities manager, had just gotten there. He had been there for a couple of months. And so it was predominantly white organization. And, you know, through Ken and Mark are so incredible. They let the staff really have a hand in the organization. And I pushed this work. I pushed EDI. I pushed all these ideas. I pushed work groups, and I just really fell into this as a passion and into this as at my work at Stages. And I've always been the kind of person that's just like, keep your brain open to every single opportunity, and what's going to be for you is going to be for you, right? Like, you just keep everything open, and you don't say, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I really feel like when this position came available, when, you know, back then we met Art Equity, I just continued to step into my purpose until I, you know, interviewed for this job and got this job. I feel like I'm just fully stepping into the natural purpose that I have. I like skipped, like that was a lot. And I like,
great. Oh, well, that's exactly what we want to know. It's your path to how you got where you are. And I knew you were an actor because we've collected a few pictures of your acting and directing history, which, and I know you're still directing right now, didn't you? Or did you just finish a project with 𝗕𝗲𝗃 and you just did something? So, and I know Ken is wonderful about letting his staff do all kinds of projects. It's not like just because now you're in this position, you'll never direct or act or do anything again.
I want to, yeah. So from my point of view, I remember the first time I ever noticed you was I went to a show at Stages and you gave the pre-show speech. And I was like, oh, that person's good at that. That's what I did. And then sort of, I'd see that happened a couple of times. And then the next time I really became aware of you was we were doing a project at our theater called the Pussy Grabber Plays. And Rachel Logue was directing a piece and she cast you. And I was like, is that person who does the good speeches at Stages? Like, yes, that is. And you came in and you kicked ass. You were so good and you sing beautifully and acted beautifully in that piece. And then we had you do another thing at Christmas, and I didn't even know you were a director. Bad on me, but then I mean, so like I don't know, what's the question? The question is like, in a year, what do you want to be in a year? What do you want to do in a year?
Let me tell you the truth. I don't want to act anymore. Okay.
Okay.
I do it every once in a while when somebody who I love and respect asks for something small, something very specific, but I really don't have that desire anymore like I did whenever we were in college and a little bit after that. Really what I want to do is direct. And I think that I will still continue to do that, as a part of the artistic team at Stages. That's a part of the way that I keep my ear to the ground, that I meet people, that I meet actors, that I engage with folks of color, that I engage with the youth. If I don't stay active in directing, I don't know how I would be like in touch enough with the Houston community, arts community, to do my job. Like, that's how I stay in touch. So I definitely plan to continue to direct because that is my passion. My mom used to tell me all the time growing up, Eboni, I don't know why you're like acting on stage. You need to be behind the scenes. You need to be directing. And I'd be like, Mom, no, I'm an actress. I'm going to be, and no, she was right. Your mom's always right. Listen to your mom.
It is funny, isn't it? You don't like to admit it later, but you're like, oh man.
So
right. Yeah.
What's the project that you're either working on or just completed with that was written, as I understand it, by 𝗕𝗲𝗃?
Oh, yes. Okay. So we did complete that project, but it is going to get a reboot in May. So folks will have a chance to see it again. But it was Fatherland, which is a show that 𝗕𝗲𝗃 wrote about the passing of her absent father, who was, very honestly, she speaks about it in the show. He was an addict. He was killed in a fight. And he had been absent from her life, her entire life since she was 2. And so her show was a mixed media. She had we have a giant 10-foot video wall, and she used a local videographer to create video that was behind her the entire time of the play. It was imagery of her that fit with what was going on in her mind. And it was like also like voiceover with sound, where you kind of hear like her inner monologues and things that she wrote when she went to Brooklyn to be with him as he was seen off the ventilators, and all of her experience coming home and her experience dealing with the aftermath of his passing. And at the end of the show, she takes you through a ceremony, a grieving ceremony with tea. And the ceremony is it's at the end of the show, and the people watching it are meant to do it with her. It's a great way for folks to bring attention to their loved ones and grieve their loss. So it was an incredibly moving experience. 𝗕𝗲𝗃's show she performs in it as well. So it's so vulnerable and it's so real, and it's the ritual makes you feel so incredibly connected. And it's about her Haitian heritage. And I also will reveal that we did that show in December, and while we were doing that show, my absent father passed away. I was at rehearsal one day and for Fatherland and got a call that he had had a catastrophic brain injury and he was, going to be taken off the ventilators. And my sister and I went to the hospital and we held his hand as he passed away. And the next morning I went to Fatherland rehearsal. Nothing more divine has ever happened in my life. Candace's piece somehow transcends and connects people, connect with it. There are so many things that have just linked up perfectly with the show that just like I'm so connected to it and so proud of it. And I'm so excited that everybody's going to get a chance to see the reboot of it in May.
That's great. Kim is dealing with our dog who's misbehaving right now.
Oh no!
It's okay.
Naughty.
She can hear you, and
she's eating stuff.
she's eating something.
Just ate half of the doorstop.
Who knows?
Oh no!
We have a terror of a dog.
There she is.
Sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt that because that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I have an absent father too, but as far as I know, he's alive. So that's a very interesting story to me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Tim. Yes. Like it's so relatable. So many people relate to this and, and it's hard to grieve through something like that. It's hard to, because you still feel it. And Candace's show really gives that a place to live. It gives that grief a place to live.
Yeah.
Was it designed as an online show or did you adapt it? What happened with that?
So Candace is actually the producer of that show. She received a grant from 𝗕𝗃 to put it on. And I think that she originally intended it to be live, but it all worked so well to just transfer to virtual because of the use of the video screen wall. Like it was already mixed media. So adding another media was a no-brainer.
Oh, nice.
But you did it together. You adapted it together.
Oh, no. I actually joined the project pretty close to the end of it. So she had worked with a videographer and the sound person like by herself and produced it all. And I joined in to pull all the pieces together.
Okay. Got it.
That's great though. That's
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm sorry that I missed it.
Yeah.
The first
We'll get
time.
to see it.
You will. In May, you will get to see it.
Great.
And
So-
go ahead.
Go ahead. We're doing this a lot today. We don't normally always do that. We talk right on top of each other. No, go
That's
ahead.
right.
Well, I was just wondering, are there other projects that you're working on as a director or in an artistic way that you want to share?
Yeah, I think it's okay for me to share this. So, because I signed a contract today, actually, at this. So Miller Outdoor Theater is actually going to open up for the public in May. And I think that's knowledge that they have it out there. And 𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃 is gonna put on Marian's song, which is a opera about Marian Anderson, who's the first Black woman to sing at Town Hall. And I've been with this production for about 2 years. It's played at the Cullen. We then filmed it this year so it could go to schools that way. And now we're going to be putting it on at Miller. I was the AD for this Miller performance. I am going to be putting it up. Our director won't be with us, but I will be putting it up on the Miller stage in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I work with the HGO studio singers. I teach acting with them, and Nick Newton is one of my favorite people in the world.
Yes, same.
So excellent.
Love him.
I didn't realize that you were working on that project, but I knew he was part of it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he's our Billy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so blessed to be working on that. That project also has like some incredible local, like 𝗕𝗃𝗃𝗃 is the writer of the script, and Damian Sneed. They're Houstonians. Amazing. They're amazing.
Great.
Amazing.
I love when that comes together like that, when it's all this local talent can put something together that gets to be done together, and then you get to direct it, local director too. So that's nice. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Good. Now I know you you did Our Christmas Stories, which was wonderful. That's a little project that you could act in that wasn't too big or too much stress, and you got to read. And then you got to be on the cover of the preview in the paper. That was so great.
That was wild. That was so cool. And it was like, you know, you guys didn't know that this was happening and I didn't know that it was happening. And then people just started to be like, hey, you're like in the Chronicle.
I know, and you look so adorable and so Christmassy. It was so sweet. It was a perfect person and picture to be on the cover.
It was great.
For the holiday. But that was really fun. People really enjoyed that. But and then I know you did some acting in town. What's the show, Catherine? You have something that she did. Oh, I forgot the title. What else have you done in town? I'm forgetting.
Are you? Oh, yeah.
When you do American Idiot, which is a great musical.
This was one of the best experiences ever with a theater with SRO, which is not even a theater in town anymore. Yeah. But you know, this was in 2015. This was the last full musical that I did. But it was a great, you know, it was a great way to go out. It was a 13-person cast, and so we were like every night just giving it our all. We had an amazing band, amazing lighting designer. That was like one of the best experiences ever.
I heard that was phenomenal. I think we were in a show, and I like Green Day. I know it's a Green Day based, you know, bunch of music, and I just was so sad I missed that. And I heard all you guys were great. I heard it was really fun and great ensemble. So yeah, I missed your farewell musical tour.
Who knew?
You never know. You may do something else. We're not going to count it out. Now, you also directed a Panto, didn't you, at Stages?
I did. I directed, I guess, was it the last Panto that we did? No, because we did film one this year, but the last one that was in person, Panto, Hansel and Gretel. I did direct that one. That was actually my first.
Yeah.
My first directing.
There it is. Those are crazy, man. Those are hard, girl. They're a big, crazy bunch of people doing all kinds of crazy stuff. That's a big directorial gig to do one of those.
Yeah, I love it though, because the Pantos, you know, have this interesting element because they have Sam Houston internship attached to it. And so you have Sam Houston students involved in the show. And so this is this really cool educational experience for them as they work with professionals. And so it's really fun. You get to, like, you know, just really be there for a special moment in these young folks' lives. And it was a special moment in my life. So it was really nice. And it's always really fun. And you know what? You guys probably feel this too, but nobody tells you in college how much you're going to work on new work. And then when you leave college, all you do is work on new work, I feel like. And that's what was so interesting to me about the Panto. I was like, a brand new thing. And the writer, he's going to be in the room. And then how? But no, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
That's not necessarily true.
It's not?
No. Well, I think Stages does a lot of that, which is wonderful. Matt Hune, I know at Rec Room, does a lot of that.
Right.
We don't do as much of that because we just don't have the funding at our organization to really do what we consider the whole workshop process.
No, I mean, Rec Room doesn't have funding. I think it depends on what you're really, really interested in and where your bandwidth is. And I mean, for me, I'm really interested in classical theater and you know, and classic American theater. I mean, lots of stuff, new American plays as well, new British plays.
Well, I think it's also, it is what you're interested in, but it's also, it is money. I mean, you know, our whole part of our mission is about pay. And I know that some theaters will not you guys, because you have enough money to fund development. But if you don't have the money to fund the development and we are about pay, we're not going to have writers and actors working for 3 months for no money to be able to put a play up. And some people are okay with that. And you know what? That's journeys that people have to make. I don't want to judge other people for their decisions on how they come about pay or what they decide. But we do it differently.
You know,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, and I think, you know, the reason, and you're totally right. I think the reason, like, I put you in that category too was like the Pussy Grabber plays that I did with you all. That was a new work, and that was the first time I had performed in a new work, and that was with y'all. So that was why I was like,
I mean, we did a woman. You know, we were the first reading of Skeleton Crew by Dominic Moore, I know.
Yes.
And we wanted that play, but then the alley saw it, and Brandon was a part of that, helping me organize that festival. And then the alley wanted it, which, hey, I'd rather the alley do it and pay Dominique than me in my little theater. So I was very happy Dominique got that payday.
Right.
But I'm happy they got to do it and do a great production of it too. So
absolutely.
My early acting career was spent mostly in regional theater, and the plays I was doing they tended to be plays that had been done a year or two before in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you mean that as new work, but they weren't new plays. They weren't world premieres. So
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
I
did
think
new plays in the beginning in New York because I was a nobody and I worked a lot with new plays.
yes.
In the little tiny theaters in the corner where there's like bugs and things. And they're like, we're going to work in here because it doesn't cost anything and we're going to develop this play. I did a lot of that.
That sounds like fun.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on where you land. I mean, the fact that you landed at stages means that you are working on a lot of new plays.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it also means you're extremely talented. You wouldn't be
Thanks.
if you weren't. No, it means it. It does.
Yeah.
You have to be a sharp, intelligent, hardworking person to land at an organization like that. And that's just the truth.
I appreciate that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I feel
Yeah.
lucky and, got to work hard every day. So just, so happy about it.
You're not lucky. You're a
Thank
hard
you,
worker
Kim.
and you're talented. Yes.
You're right. Thank you.
Yeah, I know we say that, and I always try to think. I always tell actors too. I'm like, don't ever be afraid to ask for money. Don't ever be able to say, hey, I have a degree. I worked my butt off. I have all these skills. No, you're not lucky. You're talented, educated, and you are worth every penny that you get, and for every job that you're offered. So,
Thank you. I appreciate
very
it.
welcome.
Good reminders.
There you go. Right.
So,
I have to do it too.
Ebony, we had the artistic director of stages, Ken McLaughlin, on this show not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe, I don't know if you can talk about this, but I'm going to ask you because he couldn't talk about it at the time. But does stages have live production plans that you can talk about at this point?
I can't talk about anything that's actually set in stone, but I do know that we hope to be able to make some announcements coming up in the next month. But I think just like the rest of the world and the rest of the theater industry, we're shooting for the fall. We're shooting for October, and that's just kind of, where everybody feels comfortable, throwing their line out to right now. So we will see what happens. I know that, as a company, we're trying to stay on our toes so that as soon as it looks like we can return, we can invite folks back to see live theater. So we're trying to stay flexible and trying to stay open.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing. I think that's what most people are all saying. Okay, October, boy, here we come, October. And, keeping our fingers crossed that the vaccination rates keep staying high and everybody keeps getting vaccinated, and that the production cost, restrictions don't become so high that it's, because, people, we don't have to go into this for people in the audience that, equity has rules and there's different things. And we all want to adhere to a certain level of rules to make sure everybody's safe, but that things don't become so imbalanced that producing is so expensive that it doesn't make sense that's my biggest concern. And I don't know if there's audience members that even think about that. And that's, cost structure for theater is something I would love audiences to be more educated about.
Right.
There's certain audience members who, of course, understand, lifelong donors and people who are diehard fans. But yeah, so I think it's going to be really interesting as we roll into this summer and we have to approach those things, and hopefully we'll all come out and go, okay, we're going to do this. And
Here we are, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
When is the Miller show? When is Marian's song at Miller Outdoor Theater?
That's going to be May 15th.
So that's live.
Yes, that is live.
Yeah. And it's outside. So are they spacing out the seats under the cover and doing any masks, or are they just letting it go?
I actually don't know the answer to any of those questions. I know the HGO is very rigorous safety protocols for rehearsals and keeping their singers and actors safe, but I do not know about Miller's plan.
It's hard to make people wear masks and do things outdoors.
Right.
And
you get less control
than being inside where, you're inside, it's a different thing. So I'm not saying you judge or don't judge that. It's like if somebody's sitting next to me without a mask, I can move over 5 seats or something. I'm outdoors, the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
it's
there's
hard
not
to
an
say.
issue about how close the singers are to the audience. And
they're already far enough away, right?
Pretty far away.
Stage. They're a long way away.
Long way away.
Yeah, exactly. And like up really tall. Yeah.
Well, we'll try to come to that. We might be. Oh, we won't be here. We'll be gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, but we're excited for you. We go out of town, but that's great. So, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you guys when you get back.
So what other good news is happening at stages? Anything or in your life anywhere? Do you have anything else going on or anything else you want to share about that? And
I mean,
I know I just kind of going, what do you think that you want to share about or talk about? Or is there any other projects or anything you've watched or seen that you think it was really special that meant something to you that you thought was good?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes. Two things. I can plug two things here. One, next week on Friday, we're going to have a artist table talk with Anna Maria Morris and John Ryan 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗏. This is virtual and it has to do with their Stages studio sessions, which Anna Maria's will be the last one that airs on the 23rd, the day that we do the table talk. And John Ryan's aired already. And Carolyn Johnson's will air tomorrow.
I saw that.
Yeah, so this is a super cool little thing that we've been doing where an artist comes in and they create their own show. They have a few weeks to rehearse it. They're given an entire creative team, a few weeks to rehearse it. And then we record in a week and then it goes up for the weekend. So it's been a really cool opportunity for some actors and we've seen some some performers and we've seen some really cool things come out of it. John Ryan's was a one-man Tex-Mex retelling of La Llorona, that scary story.
Oh yeah.
And it is so cool.
Oh, can you watch it still or is it, do you have to
I don't think that you can watch it still. It was only available for that weekend, but I am pushing to bring it back in October. I think it would be so cool. Right. And we could all, if it's cool enough, we could sit out on the lawn maybe and view it on the screen. He had some super scary moments and that really made me jump. I was so shocked. It was just so great. It was just so great. And that show is directed by 𝗕𝗏𝗆𝗆 Washington, who's our building liaison. If you come to the Gordy, he's going to be sitting at that front desk. I mean, it was immaculate. I was so proud. We have a brand new I believe he's our master electrician. His name is Javier. He was the lighting designer for that show. So we have a bunch of new talent working on that super creative, super interesting show. Man, I really hope that more people get to see that in October. So good.
Okay, that would be fun. I hope they bring it back. I'm always looking for Halloween stuff. I love the scary thing.
Yeah. Kevin is in my small group in our EDI.
Yeah.
And he's just a wonderful person who I didn't know before that.
Yeah.
So that's great to know. I didn't know
that
he did that.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Did you want to plug something else? You said
those, or
you're plugging those different shows?
I was plugging that show and I'm plugging the artist table talk. So join us next Friday on the 23rd for that.
Fantastic.
And I think we have the Miller show coming up. I think that's all.
Okay. Now I know you work with HGO and on this stuff. Do you do other stuff with HGO or is this just a newer relationship that has just developed lately over this particular show, really?
Marian, so.
I probably should talk about this. I think I saw a picture of this earlier. So 𝗕𝗏𝗆𝗃, Strongest of the Strong, is a HGO opera on the go that I did earlier during this year, during 2020. It was recorded for schools. This is an opera that is about Katie Sanduina, who is a real life strong woman and suffragette. She was a strong woman in Austria. She wasn't just the strongest woman, she was the strongest person in the world. She beat out the strongest man to become the strongest person in the world. Then she came to America and she was a suffragette and lended her voice to women's voting rights. This opera is a 5-person opera and all of them are women. And it's just a cool little thing. And actually HGO is showing that for free right now. So if you're interested in watching that or showing that to your little ones, that's on the HGO website. And that's available for schools too, classrooms, all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, that's good to know.
Are
That's
some
great.
of the studio artists involved in that?
Let me see. Liz, I can't pronounce Liz's last name. Hannah.
That's all right.
Liz, Hannah. I think Hannah's a studio student, maybe. Alex. Who else is in that? 𝗪𝗍 is in that. I think I'm forgetting somebody. I am so sorry. Maybe it's just those 4.
Okay.
I put you on the spot.
I know, right?
Oh, 𝗕𝗃𝗀𝗄. I can't forget about 𝗕𝗃𝗀𝗄. She's in that as well. So yes, they're amazing. I don't know who's in the studio, but all 5 of those ladies are incredible.
Great,
Cool.
great. So tell me what your favorite thing is about directing and why you think directing finally became the thing that was your calling as an artist. I mean, now you have another calling as a social justice person and as an administrator for change, but as an artist, honing in on being a director. What is it about having done some directing now and experienced that? Because I feel like I move more towards the directing vein myself. And, I could speak to that, but what do you think it is that you finally went, oh, this is where the light bulb went off and this is why I love this? What is it about that you love?
So yeah, directing is the thing in theater where you will get to orchestrate the community. You get to create, what you do is you're creating a safe space for all of these people to communicate their ideas so that you guys can come up with something together as a community. Every time you do a show, you're creating a new living, breathing family. You're creating a new living, breathing cohort of people that's there to present something to the world collectively. That recreation of community and being the orchestrator and the leader of that creation of that community, making sure it's a safe space, a collaborative space, a free thinking space. Those are all that's like the closest you get to creating your own town. Like if you could build your own village and then make up all the laws and all that, that's like what directing is. That's the closest you ever get to it. I'm a person that's I don't know everything. And I think that people have that one of the joys in life is listening to what other people are experts in and listening to what they're passionate about and collaborating with them and letting them teach you. And so when you're a director and you get to work with the sound person and the lighting person and the set person and the costume person and your stage manager and all those people come with a different expertise, and I just get to learn from them, absorb from them. I get to create a space where they get to be as free and artistic as they want to be, where they get to communicate with each other. It's like being a conductor of an orchestra. Somebody says so I heard somebody say once the person in the orchestra pit, they play the instruments, the conductor, he plays the orchestra. And that's how I feel about being a director. You're creating the whole room and holding the space, holding the container, creating the vibe, right? You get to create the vibe, and that's what I love.
I understand. I understand. That's a good description. That's a really wonderful way to say it. Let me ask you, what is the hardest part to you of directing? Or so far, what has been have you had an experience that you have felt was very difficult or really trying to you that you didn't know how to fix or you didn't know how to solve or something like that?
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm a little bit of a mixture of a human being where I'm very, I can be very sure of myself, and I can speak with gravitas. But when I'm creating a room, when I'm creating a vibe, I really like a laid back vibe. I really like for everybody to feel like they can speak up whenever they want. I really like for people to, really collaborate in the room. And that doesn't work the best for everybody, right? Some people really like structure. They really like when a question in the room gets asked, they want the director to answer. Like anybody else chattering, they're like, no. So I think for me, it's challenging to find the balance in those two things, so that we're honoring everybody's learning style, everybody's working style, and just being really aware of how I am as a director, because I really will just I think things work the best when you just let everybody speak and you let everybody put in their 2 cents and you let them, if somebody says something, they're going to be heard. I'm going to hear them. It's not, everything's not coming from me. It's coming from the vibe. It's coming from the room. So yeah, I really try to create that kind of a thing. And then I'm always the person that's I'm good at when I can hear 5 or 6 ideas and I can say, okay, this is how we're going to combine all those ideas, and this is the direction that we're going. And that might, you know, the way that I get there people who are more A-type personalities, they want more structure. They don't really see the end goal when you're doing it like that. They're like, what's the end goal here? But then when you get to the end, they're like, oh, I see, right? Like when you get to the finished product, they're like, this is good. But it's like, it's not as, so it can be challenging.
Yeah, I think, well, but the fact that you're just aware, at least from my experience directing, the fact that you're aware simply of the fact that people learn differently and that you have to figure out how to speak differently to different people. And, you know, it doesn't mean you have to direct differently. And that was something that took a long time for me to understand, is that, oh, I'm still going to create the same structure for story to live in. I mean, I have to adhere to a structure that a writer wrote. That writer is in the room. That writer wrote a play that has to come to realization. I can't just throw the play in the toilet because people are going to do whatever they want to do. But yeah, right. But hearing that, oh, because I have to do certain things to make a structure arrive, doesn't mean that I can't let people talk, or I can't let people try things, or I can't do things. But I have to learn how to guide you to a place so that you're a good ensemble member, through the voice that you understand you're being guided with love, and hearing you and your participation, and letting you try what you need to try, even if I know it's going to maybe not work. Go, yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah, right. And I may know it's not going to work. Or once in a while I go, oh, damn, I was wrong. And I had a good note from somebody one time in New York who said to me, I go in and I try to remember, even when it's hard, that I'm the dumbest person in the room. And if and it may not be true, but if I say that, I might be surprised by something magnificent that happens that I wouldn't have seen if I'm in there going, you have to get to this place. You have to get to this place.
Right.
You know, because I always know those notes I gave myself. You have to get to this place. But if I'm open, I go, oh, what was that?
Right.
I didn't think of that.
Right.
So then I can figure out how to put that in.
Yeah, right. And I fully agree with that. And, Ken says this as well. And, I think that this is really exactly what you're talking about too. Like, the more freedom that you give folks so that you can see, the more life you keep in the show, right? The more natural it is for those people doing it, because they've come up with it themselves. And like, when you see them do something so authentic and you're like, oh, there it is. That's what I wanted. It's because it's still full of life. Like, no one sucked it out. It's still right there. And, theater's living and breathing. That's why we're here.
And it also helps too, that you give them that freedom and you help them have that environment, that safety, that when you actually tell them no, they're like, you. Right. Because you gave them the freedom to explore all the avenues, and you say, no, we can't go that way, because if you do that, this person's thing they need can't happen. And they go, oh, I want to help that person too, because they're part of a team. And they understand sometimes they have to sacrifice something for another person's realization to happen.
Absolutely.
They get it. And if you've been yelling at them the whole time, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're like, oh, I don't care what you say. You're just speaking.
Right. You gotta make sure that, like, when you say no, you mean it.
And that you've earned it. I think it's almost like you've earned the right to tell you no, because I've loved you and I've trusted you to give me your heart on. Gene Frankel used to say to me all the time, he used to say, when you're acting, you give your heart to your partner. You go, like, if you were my acting partner, I go, Eboni, I'm going to give you my heart and you're going to take care of it now for 2 hours. Yeah. And I have to believe that. So that, or like, you do that to the director too. Like, in the rehearsal process, I go, Eboni, I'm going to give you my heart. I'm trusting you. Right. So I'm going to explore, I'm going to do things. And then when you say no, I have to believe that you're doing that with my heart in your best interest. Right. And I go, okay, you wouldn't say no to me if it wasn't in my best interest.
Right. That's really good. Yeah.
Gene Frankel said that to me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a great teacher.
I mean, that's the kind of personalization that we all should be after.
Well, as an actor, you can see that, because it touches your imagination. So you go, oh, I can see that, because that's a relationship between me and my other artist and my director that I can go, I understand that from my heart, not from my brain, and I talk a lot from my brain too, because I'm very logical and I'm very, I like to go through that, but I go, but no, look, I'm giving you this, and I'm trusting you with my heart. I'm going to be vulnerable to you. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm going to apologize to you if I say something mean or I snap, because I don't want to hurt you. But I'm also going to be hard on you. If you don't learn your lines, I'm going to come down on you because I can't move forward. So, but you've got to have that balance of where do you discipline and where do you celebrate and nurture. And and I love that about directing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you get to have this really rich, full relationship with a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they come together on stage, and you stand in the back and watch it.
Right.
You go, that's my baby.
Right. And it's so rich. And it's so rich and full because of what you just identified, like the trust, like when trust is involved in any relationship, that's the fullest it's going to be. And it's like, you have to trust those people. It's amazing.
And for me, when the show opens, I go, look at my baby live without me.
Right.
And that's the growth of a mother going, it's out now. It belongs to you.
Oh yeah.
I gave you my heart and now you're living it in the world.
Yeah.
And that feels really special to me. That's what I like about directing.
That's wonderful. I love that. That's a good way to think about it. I get annoyed when I'm like, I want to stay like in private with shows, because when you add an audience, it's like adding another character. When you add people to the arts, it becomes something else. It needs to become that something else. It has to grow out of the rehearsal room. But I get sad. I'm like, I just want to keep it protected. I want to keep you guys all safe. What if they don't laugh at our jokes? What if we're the only people who think this is funny? Like, I always think that.
That's always hard.
For me, when I first started directing, which isn't that long ago, maybe 10 years ago, that was the hardest part. And I remember the first thing I directed was this thing that was comedy. And I like when you're directing a comedy, the last week, nothing's that funny to anybody anymore, right?
Right. When you're in the room, and you don't even know anymore.
And yeah, as a director, you kind of have to like try to laugh when you're watching it. And then, and you start to feel like you're lying to the cat. I'll speak for myself.
Right, I know it.
And then that first time, the first audience, thank God, laughed a lot. And the first time they really laughed, I burst into tears.
Oh,
he's so cute. He is. He's a little here
because I was so afraid that I'd been lying to the cast and telling them it was funny and that it wasn't.
Oh my God!
We're so stages.
Really?
We rented stages for our very first show we ever produced.
Wonderful. What was it?
It was called Almost Maine by John 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗃. I'm sure you probably heard of it. Colleges do it all the time. And
yes, colleges do it all the time, but also I watched Ken's interview and I saw you guys talk about it and how you met and all that kind of stuff. And it was around that show. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that there. So it was great. It was a wonderful kickoff for us too, because the audience over there came over and saw it and we had a really nice run. So it was nice.
We only have a few minutes left. I wonder, think about this. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't brought up? Or I'd love to know if there's someone in your life, it really could be your life, or as an artist, as a director, or in the other career track that you're taking now, who who's a mentor or who you want to thank.
Oh yeah, man. I have many, my mother has been a great, powerful, strong influence in my life. My father, who has my dad's a drill sergeant in the Army, but I was like, I want to go to New York and be an actor. And he was like, okay, well, here's your plane ticket so you can go visit it, and see if you like it. Just really supportive. My grandmother is a 92-year-old woman and she, is incredible. Don't play with my grandma. If you want to have a political talk with her, if you think you're going to be smarter than my grandma and have a political conversation with her, no. She's got it. She's such a liberal progressive. 92-year-old woman born in 1929, rural Louisiana, through segregation, born through segregation. She was a nurse her entire life. My grandpa was a postal worker. She, just incredible liberal woman, incredible, intelligent person who puts kindness at the forefront, just my favorite person. And and then of course, Ken, I had to say that, you know, Ken was my directing teacher at Sam Houston State University in 2008. He used to every once in a while come down there and teach a class. Like he would, every like 2 years or whatever, he would teach a directing one class. And he was my directing one teacher, and he just like changed my life. Like I don't know how else to put it. And when I came to Houston, I was like, I want to work at Sages. I want to work for his theater. I want to work for this person. And then he's just like poured into me. I mean, he taught me a directing lab for free, where like once or twice a week we would meet, we would study, we would read books, we would talk plays, we would analyze scripts, we would talk about sets, like train me up. My ending project for that directing lab was actually the Panto. And, you know, as you guys know, as, you know, honestly, white folks going into this anti-racism work, going into EDI work, going into, you know, work to bring humanity to all people and marginalized groups, it's gonna be hard. It can be hard for white folks. It's uncomfortable. It's difficult. And as a leader, you guys are leaders of theaters as well. The responsibility feels so high, but it's also, you know, a difficult personal struggle. So it takes so much courage, so much bravery to embark on this work and to do it in the full way that Ken McLaughlin and Mark Folks have done it for Stages. This unapologetic, this is what we're doing way as white men. You know, I look up to Ken to so much. And, you know, the way that he's poured into me, poured into my life, has been remarkable, and I would not be where I am without that.
I think that's wonderful that you celebrate him like that, and I think everyone in Houston should celebrate him, because he's going to change. Them, yes, Ken and Mark, sorry. But I know I'm saying Ken because he brought you up as a director and all, but Mark Folks also was a big part of that organization's change. But I was just talking about Ken as an artist influence, but God bless Mark too, because Mark has spent many hours with me advising me as a leader. So I don't want to dismiss that. But I think it's so important, and you're right, they have set the standard, and it's very high for the rest of us white theater leaders. You know, to say, hey, we did this before anybody else when it's the hardest, and now you have a roadmap. So you've got it a little easier. It doesn't mean it's easy for people. It's not going to be easy, but anything worthwhile is not easy. So shut up and do it. And that's the way it goes. You know, anything worthwhile in life is hard. Right. I believe that.
So hard. And you got to be brave. You got to be brave. I mean, our mission statement literally says, we sit together in the dark to learn how to love each other in the light.
Yeah.
That, it says it on our wall when you walk into the building. And, you know, like the bravery it takes to put the word love into a statement for a company and say, like, our mission is to make sure that everybody, to, you know, ask the question, crack open the question of what does it mean to be human? That's just like, it's just remarkable to me. And I couldn't be more pleased.
Yeah.
You know, he's also the person that told me, like, directing is 80% casting. I'll never forget that. Truth.
He's totally wrong. It's 90%.
Well, right now we mean nothing as directors, just so you know. We just got 10% as directors. At least he gave you 20%.
Right. It's little though.
Took me down to 10. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It is a little.
That's my job.
Well,
that's so funny.
I think I'm right in saying that I think the fact of you is part of the reason that those words are on the wall at Stages.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think anyone would disagree with me. So,
no, well.
An hour has passed.
I know, I can't believe it.
We're a little late because we
a couple minutes.
Internet reception at our house.
We were driving like a maniac.
But it's been delightful. Thank you so much for coming and talking with us tonight.
Yes,
absolutely.
We appreciate you, and I'll see you soon. I'll have a catch up with you soon. So, but we'll see you. Yes,
absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Yep. Well, thanks so much, and we'll see you soon. Good night, Evan. We'll let you drop off, and we'll in on the rest of our stuff. Bye, Eboni.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay, everyone. So that was just lovely. I'm so excited we had Eboni.
Great?
She was terrific. So I want to fill you guys in real quick on our couple things coming up. So first, we're going to talk about White Rabbit, Red Rabbit. So do not forget, everyone, this is coming up. It starts next week, and they kick it off with the first show of the lovely Philip Lail. He is first. He's your opener on the 22nd. And then that same weekend, we have our big guest star celebrity, Laura Linney, on the 24th. Those tickets are going very fast. If you want to see Laura, please make sure you buy a ticket as soon as possible. There's tickets for everyone, but we are selling tickets, so it's going well, but we do have seats available for everyone. So please make sure that you take the time to take a look at the list of these star-studded guests and pick a night and watch this amazing experience of live theater, because the play has been adapted for Zoom. It's a play where the actors have never seen the play. They pull it out of an envelope. An interaction happens where they read the play live. They've never seen it. They know nothing about it. It happens between you and the actor on a Zoom audience platform. It's been adapted for that so that it fits that medium. So do that for us.
I will say that each of those people in that postcard that you just saw are classmates of mine from the Juilliard School, and they're all magnificent people. And
Yes.
whatever happens to all of us, this thing that we don't know what's going to happen. To watch each and every one of them will be a treat, I promise.
Yeah, I'm watching every night, just so you know. If you're going to be there, you can see me. We'll wave at each other. Great. So we have one other thing we want to make sure and remind you of is that we have a summer Shakespeare program this year that the Juilliard students, so we have big Juilliard stuff 2 in a row, that 2 Juilliard students will be joining Philip. And these are current Juilliard students that will come down and learn how to help Philip teach Shakespeare the way that he teaches Shakespeare to some high school students here in Houston. It'll be a small group this year because of COVID. We're going to keep it nice and small and safe. And they will be doing a production of As You Like It that Philip has cut and made a nice shorter length, what, about an hour and a half?
Oh, I don't know yet.
Doesn't even know yet, but it'll be a nice, wonderful cut version of As You Like It in our theater here at Spring Street at the end of July. And these kids get 6 weeks together with the Juilliard students and Philip, and they learn about Shakespeare. And there's some slots available. I think Philip's having some auditions this weekend. So if you've got a kid who wants to get on board, check our website out and get signed up for a slot.
If you're watching this and it's after April 18th, then those auditions have already happened. But if for some reason you're like, oh, my kid has to be in this, give us, contact us and we'll see what we can do. No promises, but yeah. And we've found the Juilliard students. Their names are Aaron Gunner and Ariana Stuckey. And they're amazing people. They're going to be going into their 4th year at Juilliard. And I can't wait to
it's going to be a lot of fun
with the high school students. And a quick shout out to our biggest fan, Veronica. Thanks for watching us every time.
Thanks for watching, Veronica.
We love you.
Yay.
Okay.
All right, everyone. So have a beautiful night, and we look forward to seeing you. We're skipping 2 weeks for White Rabbit, Red Rabbit. So the next 2 Thursdays, you will be seeing White Rabbit, Red Rabbit if you join at this time of night. And after that, we'll be back, and we're going to have a guest that you're going to have to wait and see. So watch social media for the announcement of that guest, because we're waiting for a confirmation from our next special Beyond the Fourth Wall guest.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night.
No, you have to say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. Bye.
Beyond the Fourth Wall is produced by Fourth Wall Theater Company, Houston's home for extraordinary performances up close. Each guest is paid for their appearance on this series, in accordance with our mission to pay artists a living wage. Follow the links in the video description to support Fourth Wall with a tax-deductible gift, or to subscribe to our upcoming 10th anniversary season.